So I think Louisiana's basic problem comes down to their inability or unwillingness to read or write. Because there's so many clerical issues. There's so many issues that fall back to clerical problems with their judicial system. And that, if you break it down to its most basic form, it's a failure to have a good reading and writing backgrounds, and that's the foundation for education, is reading and writing. And you could see the neglect happen in the judicial system when they don't write hardly anything down. They withhold information because they don't write it down. They forget things because they don't write it down. They hallucinate scenarios because they don't properly write things down. They don't document. Like their information properly. And I've experienced a lot of that breakdown with my issues over the failure to ID. All right. And here's some examples. They don't keep a daily schedule for court cases at the district court level, let alone the city court. So you don't know who shows up to what courtroom on any particular day. When I asked for a schedule, they gave me a yearly schedule. They don't write down daily schedules, a basic thing that a lot of other courts do, no matter what the size. So that's that inability to just write for the public to read. That information is lost. And why would they forget me in jail if they didn't properly write down on a ledger, or however it's documented? Why would they forget me in jail? It's because they're not practicing a proper reading and writing system, a basic system to document who's in jail, who's in what cell. They just kind of go off of feelings and try to remember, I guess, because they forgot me. So it's not a matter of, oh, we didn't mark you into the proper cell. It's, oh, we forgot you, because they're going off of a system of memory, which their memories are horrible, and not relying on a basic foundation of reading and writing. The courts support that by saying that we are not allowed access to the public employees' information because it could cause jealousy or resentment. I forget this. It's jealousy. It could cause jealousy or embarrassment to the public employee. But also, they just may not document properly a public employee's records anyway. So the courts may be arguing that there's the jealousy and embarrassment aspect. That's ridiculous to make as an argument, but that might be an argument just to hide the fact that they're not properly documenting a public employee's record as a basic foundation of their employment. The judges are just overlooking that because it's not being written down anyway. It's not being properly documented. Basic reading and writing is not being practiced in Louisiana. And I mean, they have the reputation for being like that, for being that state with the lowest educational levels, and it's because they lack basic reading and writing skills. So it translates into a lot of public employee, a lot of government operations, and they rely on memory, which results in hallucinations instead of actual written, documented facts and information, and people are falling victims more often to the system of the Louisiana judicial system than in any other state because of the poor basic reading and writing skills. And they might have a larger population that just doesn't want to read and write. I mean, there's been plenty of cultures that have developed without any reading and writing skills, all oral. I mean, our early history was like that. And it's like, to the victor goes the spoils. The victor in wars gets to write the history how they feel it should be written. But not all victors not all winners of battles and wars knew how to read or write. So it's not so much a matter of the winners can write history in their own to their own appeal. They also have to know how to read or write to be able to do that, and then pass down that information to the next generation and the next generation. So Louisiana is failing on basic reading or writing, and they're not able to pass on information to the next person in line for a government position. They're all going off of memory, and of course, if somebody's relying on that, it just whatever that information may be, it goes away with the previous owners of that information. And the court system is not recognizing that. Instead, they're basing their decisions a lot on more feelings and of feelings enforcement, embarrassment, or jealousy. That's what the court system in Louisiana is enforcing. A lot of that, and that foundation is hallucination, and it's a lack of reading and writing, and then so the foundation it's like it's crumbled from the lack of reading and writing, and then built up by hallucination, which results in embarrassment, jealousy, feelings in general. It's really a step back, and I mean they raise the standards for us as citizens in Louisiana to be. We have to be lawyers ourselves, but lawyers based on all these hallucinations that they're falling back on. I mean, how do you really be a lawyer? It's more of a political movement, social movements that you have to work with in the criminal system than actual written law, properly thought through legal arguments, not legal feelings, actual logical arguments. I mean, there's logic classes. If A is this way and B is this way, then C is that way. It's logic that you put together, and you can't always do that in your head. And Louisiana's trying to do too much in their head than write down the problems. They'd rather attempt calculus in their heads than write down the steps in proper form and show their work. All right, they don't show their work. All right, they just kind of arrive at their conclusions that from a hallucination in their head, and then don't properly explain themselves, or hallucinate scenarios that may never have happened. Especially in my case, a lot of the arguments that the prosecutor make never happen. All right, they don't rely on the facts and all of that, and it's really frustrating to deal with personally, and then to hear more stories come out of the crazy conclusions that they come up with, like people staying in jail longer than they should because of some kind of clerical errors, and people being denied lawyers. That's my case, but also other people's cases where it's not even discussed. It's not even properly documented, even verbally in court, on court record, verbally. When you look at the transcript, they don't even document for some of the, with Judge Ousley, for some of the cases, they don't properly document the lawyer issue. I, as a defendant, am required to bring that up. All right, but how are all defendants to know that? Especially if it's like an 18-year-old person who doesn't know much about the legal issue. It's something that the courts just expect you to be born with to know. You have to be born a lawyer in Louisiana, but they don't document information properly, and they withhold a lot of they withhold information, trying to make it look like they know more than they do. Okay, make it look like they're bigger than they are, but really they're just not documenting things from the start anyway, and then make other crazy arguments about why they can't give that information out. And it's on the state level that they're supporting these hallucinatory decisions.